get through everything. So the recording's on now. So yay, I'm really, really glad that you all are here. And as I was kind of saying before everybody arrived, is I'm kind of scattered today, and I'm also very tired because I didn't sleep much last night because my house caught on fire. So we had quite an exciting evening, and I had opted not to go to a Dining for Women meeting that I had been looking forward to because I'm part of this really wonderful organization, and we have not had a meeting for over a year. So this was the first in-person meeting, and I wanted to go, but I had been at the vet with both dogs, and both dogs were very anxious from being at the vet, and I was like exhausted from that. And I got home late, and this Dining for Women meeting was to be held quite a ways away, and through in a gated community, and just kind of a hassle. And I was so tired, and I said, I really don't think I'm going to go. So I didn't. And I'm really glad I didn't, because I was sitting in the living room at 9:20 and the lights went out. Boom, no lights. And I'm thinking, what is going on? The lights are on other places, but not in the living room. So I went upstairs and told my husband, I said, the lights just went out in the living room. I don't know what's going on. Now, so I was walking up the stairs. I kind of smelled a weird smell. It smelled kind of like electrical burning and kind of like smoke. And so Bob went out to check the panel, and sure enough, the breaker had tripped and it wouldn't come back on. And in that amount of time, he walks back in the house, and our housemate's coming down the stairs, and he says, I hear a beeping. And I said, yeah, I do too. It's very faint. I wonder where it is. It must be down in your room. So his room is on the lower level. We have 3 levels to our house. And he opens up his sliding door, and the whole thing is full of smoke, and there's flames coming up outside the sliding door, the glass door. So he goes on overdrive, jumps out through the fire, slams the sliding glass door, grabs a hose that's right there, and starts hosing down the deck that was on fire. And and I go down after him and open his door, and the whole room is just full of smoke. And I see these flames that are like 3 feet tall out the sliding glass door. And I turn around and I run back up. Bob, the house is on fire. I'm going to call 911. So I call 911, and Darren had closed the sliding door, and everything in the track melted. So I went back down in to try to air out that room because it was so smoky and it was filling the house with smoke, and I couldn't get the door open. And so I managed to get the windows open, but the door is like glued shut with melted whatever. And then the firemen came, and there were first 4 fire trucks. One turned around and went back, and then they told us that a 5th one had been sent back as well. And those firefighters went into overdrive. I mean, it was like boom, 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 boom. They were just doing all their thing. And Darren had really knocked down the flame, but the fire was actually burning inside the walls, that one wall. And so they tore out the deck and they tore up the wall and they got it all out. And now we are going to have to repair it. It's like
so it's faulty wiring.
Yes, what happened was, we think, I mean, it's hard to tell, but it looked like a rodent had chewed through the wires and they shorted out. And so thank goodness I didn't go to that meeting. I was home. I got that first alert of the power going out. And then Darren and Bob had, they were way up in upstairs. It would have taken them a while to hear that smoke alert alarm way down in the bottom level. So, but just, we were very fortunate. And really, the three of us just, I was very proud of us. We worked together as a team very well and got it all under control. The dogs, of course, were already anxious from the vet, and those poor things were just beside themselves. They slept with us all night, in our bed. So it was, I feel for them. So I didn't get much sleep. I smell like I've been camping. It was quite an adventure, but I'm really glad you're here. And I'm glad we're going to be finishing up the GACTS of Life. And I know that a few of you haven't, well, it's like half and half really, haven't done the first part 1 and part 2 of the GACTS of Life. They are available to our members. Our Posting with Purpose Play Shop members get the playbook to download, which is what I'm going to be going through with you today, and has all of the stuff that we've been working on in modules. And they get the recordings to these Boomer Zoomer calls where there's backup information for all the playbook stuff too. So if you really are inspired to join us, that would be awesome. And then you could have all this stuff at your fingertips, as well as a bunch of other bonus stuff. So to start out today, first of all, I did not,
Susan,
do my normal agenda. Yes? What?
If I get a call from the social worker, I'll have to take it. Just to let you know that.
Okay, that's fine. Just, mute yourself and take your call. So generally I have an agenda, and I try to keep myself to a really tight time schedule. Today I did not do that because I was bamboozled. So we're going to just wing it, and hopefully I will be able to cover everything and do everything within the time frame that we've allotted. I would love it if you would take some kind of notes, and the notes that I'd like you to write down is, if there's a lot of stuff in this last part of the GACTS of Life, and I'm just going to skim over it really fast. If there is any particular thing that you would really like to go deeper into at any point, just write it down. And then at the end, I'm going to ask you what you wrote down, because that'll really help me moving forward and knowing what to, I want to both invite guest speakers to present on topics that are of most interest to you. And I also, of course, have a lot of information on these topics myself. So going forward with these Boomer Zoomer meetups, I want to hit the right stuff for you. Also, we're going to a new schedule. It's not going to be every week for Boomer Zoomer meetups anymore. It's going to be twice a month, on the first and third Friday of the month. And on the first Friday, I will be focusing mainly on platforms and first platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Those will be the first two. Maybe touch on LinkedIn if that's of interest to anybody, but it'll be really how to. And now that you have gone through like 12, 13 weeks of figuring out what to post and how to post with purpose, now we're going to finally, yay, start posting with purpose. And but I want everybody to be comfortable with the platform. Make sure privacy settings are correct for you. Know what the difference between a Facebook profile is and a Facebook group and a Facebook page, and what you can do on all those different things, and how to kind of maneuver around in the various platforms, because there's little tricks and tips. Plus, guess what? They are all so kind to us. They change like every 3 months. They'll make some changes that just when you think you know what you're doing, suddenly you don't know what you're doing anymore. And so I figure it's all a game, and we can all learn to play the game. And if we don't like the game, we can go away. We don't have to play the game if we don't want to. So that's what we're going to do on the first first Friday, is do more platform-based how to. I'll share my screen and walk you through it. And of course, it's all recorded, so you can always go back and say, okay, I forgot how to do this, but now I can do it. And then the third Friday, we will have a guest presenter presenting on a topic that is in our playbook or in our agenda of what we all want to cover. And I know a lot of people who are wonderful presenters, and one of them is sitting right in my screen, right in the center. So I'm hoping that Sue Henry will be one of our presenters and share some of her knowledge and her experience, and inspire us to do some wonderful things. And I have a whole list of awesome people that I want to introduce to you, because I know they're really inspiring about developing presence online and in social media, and how to do it, and different aspects of what posting with purpose is all about. Okay, so right now, if we could just go around, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us. So that's, if everybody could just introduce themselves with their name and where they live and why you're here, and make that as brief as possible. And it may be why you're here today on the Boomer Zoomer meetup, or it may be why you're here on this planet. So those of you who have done your purpose statements or your mantras, you may want to incorporate that. If not, just whatever comes to your mind about why you're here today on the Boomer Zoomer meetup. So let's start with, okay, let's just go around. Stephanie, D, and JR first. So
Okay.
Stephanie.
All right, so I'm here in this class because I'm realizing that I always put myself last. There's always some drama going on in life, and I tend to take care of everybody. And of course, my business is a holistic healing, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual healing, as well as nutritional. And I think my purpose in life is to support my own healing and anyone else that's interested in really deep healing. But I just really keep seeing how I put myself last. So that's an issue for me for this class, and being involved with this group to really help me figure out a way to do that, take care of, put myself first.
Great.
Because as they say, the mask goes on first, then the kids. But I don't do that.
Love that. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Great. And Stephanie is in Silicon Valley. She's in San Jose, Campbell area. So Dee.
Well, hello, new people. Happy to see beautiful faces. I live in Nevada City. My name is Dee Donnelly. And at this boomer phase of life, I'm working to establish myself as a fine art portrait photographer. I had a 38-year career in special education. So this idea of how to work in a creative field came to me pretty late. And I find myself struggling with the technology. And Susan's been a great help to me. She helped me build a beautiful website. And I've participated now in several gallery shows with my work. And I'm always exploring how to bring sensitivity and insight into how I photograph and why I photograph. So that's me.
Great, thank you. And JR.
I'm J.R. Armstrong. I'm from Michigan. I don't know if I'm the only one out of state, but okay. My husband was an athletic trainer for Major League Baseball, so we've done a lot of traveling. And I always took my writing with me. I'm a writer, and now that the kids are grown, I decided to dust all those off the shelf, and I'm getting them out there. And I know nothing. Well, I know a little bit about social media, but very little. And I really need help with that.
Cool, great. And so why don't we go Sue, Melanie, and Carolyn.
Hi, I'm Sue Henry from the lovely state of Minnesota, and I am a cow milking, tractor driving, hay hauling business coach. So I do milk cows every morning on our organic grass only dairy farm. My husband calls it a date. I wouldn't go quite that far, but I have been an entrepreneur and international speaker for a couple of decades, and I help sassy broads like you unleash your inner celebrity and grow your own movement.
Yay. See how great it's going to be to
It's
have her
awesome.
speak for us.
Awesome.
I think that'll be great.
And why is she here? What is she here to get to gain?
Actually, I don't know, because I've got like close to 50,000 followers on my social media stuff and everything. I do a lot, and plus in Clubhouse and blah, 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 blah. But Susan and I really connected when we had a chat. And when she explained to me what she was doing, based on where you're at, I mean, I was teaching social media when Facebook and Twitter were the only ones, and we were on dial-up, or at least I was out here in the middle of nowhere. You know how that sound is. And so
Yeah.
and so she had asked me to kind of come along because there's a couple of tips that I can share with you that's going to make your journey a lot easier. And one of them is just teaching you how to train Facebook's algorithm so it starts asking you to connect with the people who are your ideal prospects. Hello, how much easier does it get? So those are the kinds of things that Susan and I had talked about. And then she said, maybe there's a little bit of training you could do. And I have had so many people give to me during my career that I love being in, and I love the opportunity where I can give back.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Wonderful. And my vision for this from the very, very beginning was that it wasn't going to be the Talking Susan show. I don't like the Talking Susan show. I mean, this Susan. I want to share the stage with other Susans and other people. And so when Sue and I talked, it was like, oh, wow, here's another inspiring person who is chronologically gifted like all of us and has something to share that we can all benefit from. We all have our gifts, but we also all have our needs, our holes in what we have. And so if we can find wonderful people to fulfill those needs, then I want to bring them on board. So that is wonderful. And I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Melanie.
Hi, I'm Melanie Hibbs. I'm living in Redwood City. Excuse me. And gosh, I need some water. But you grabbed me with Post with Purpose because I feel as if I'm floundering around. I don't really know what I'm doing. And I know there's a lot more I can learn. So that's what I'm doing here.
Excellent. And so you are not alone. And I think that our purpose with Posting with Purpose is so that we all can get our messages out, whatever that is, and our voices heard, whatever they are, in whatever medium we are using, or in whatever our business is, to the broadest base of people who will gladly pay for the value that we give. And in order to do that, we have to have a structure and kind of an idea of how to communicate. And so that's what we're all about. And it's been exciting for the last quarter. I mean, it's been 13 weeks, 14 weeks now, to really see the progress of the people that have been on board since the beginning. I mean, I'm really excited about how everybody is embracing what we talk about and do and follow through, and it's really cool. Okay, so Carolyn, you go next, and then Christy, you wrap it up.
I'm Carolyn C.J. Jones, and I live in Nevada, California, which is a 30-minute drive on good days north of San Francisco. You know, I came because I wanted to know what the group was all about. I mean, the title of boomers in the title just attracted my attention. So here I am, and come to find out, I've been dropped into a group that is exactly what I need, because I too struggle with the technology of everything and would like a better plan. I'm also here, I believe, to help promote my message of forgiveness and how I went from a 30-year resentment over my past and negativity to a place of gratitude and positivity. So I'm with forgiveness. And so I'm here if this is an appropriate venue for me to share my message.
Awesome. And it absolutely is an appropriate venue for you to share your message, and hopefully we will help you to get that message out even more, and how to structure what you do on social media and your presence online. And really, your presence online is your presence in the world. It's not just online, it's out in the world and in person, now that we're able to look forward to more in-person things, which for me, I did a lot of public speaking prior to moving up to Nevada City. So 6 years ago, I kind of put that on the back burner. And I've decided that's what I want to do. I want to really get out into the world and re-up my presence in person. And so, of course, that right now looks like a hybrid, and I think it's going to be a hybrid. Sue will be able to give me a lot of tips on this, because this is what she does professionally. But you know, our presence, the presence we develop in online, in social media, in the world, is all about feeling confident and good inside, and expressing our purpose whatever that may be, our message to the world in a confident way and in a way that will attract exactly who we want it to attract, and not worry about the others. The others will come maybe, and who cares if they do or don't, but the right ones will come if we get our messages honed to perfection, and that's not memorized. I mean, it's being able to express who we are, what we do, why we do it, probably most importantly, why we do it. And so you're in the right place, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Okay, Christy, wrap it up for us, and then I will get going on the GACTS of Life. Oh, I can't hear you. Now we have no audio. We can see your beautiful face, but we can't hear you. Do you have your audio turned on? Oh dear. Shall I introduce you? Okay, I will introduce Christy. Christy is our, probably, I'm not sure, millennial or Gen X, which I have no idea how old you are, and I don't really care. So, but younger than us. And she is part of the Curious Forge, which is an art center in Nevada City, Grass Valley, Nevada County. And she initially came here to represent the Curious Forge, but I hope she's here for herself as well, because she's a very accomplished artist. And the coolest thing about Christy is that and now here I can't remember the word. Oh man, type it into the chat. It's very special. Christy can hear.
Synesthesia.
Thank you. And she hears color. And so she's an artist who works in color. She paints and dyes and does colorful artwork, but it is music. She hears it as well as sees it. Am I right with that? Is that, I think it's so awesome. That's quite a gift, and it's rare, but it's very special. She sees colors when she hears music. So that's her artwork in the background. You can see that's done to, right there, that's done to a piece of music. I think that's so awesome. Okay, and so thank you all
Christy.
for introducing yourself, and I'm glad you're here, Christy, and we'll work on that audio. So, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and pop right over to the actual GACTS of Life. But before I do that, even before I go into the GACTS, I want to, for those new people, to kind of give you the what we do at our purpose for posting with purpose. And this kind of goes over what's in the playbook as well. So in the first 12 weeks, we actually drilled down on knowing your why, which is your core values, your vision, your mission, who you want to reach, who is your audience, and articulate your purpose in your message and your mantra. Your message, of course, we worked on our purpose statements, and then we honed those purpose statements down to a mantra, which is a short, almost like a tagline, but it's very expressive of your message and inspires people to take action. We create our own playbook to define and redefine our path. A lot of us have been on a path for a long time, and some of us are on the same path we've been on for many, many years, and some of us have taken a new path. And so defining and redefining our path as we go along is really important. And I am a proponent of doing that often, like several times a year. Spend a few hours a week on social media and have fun. That's the bottom line. If it's not fun, we don't do it. I don't do it. But in order to have fun on social media, you have to kind of understand a lot of the basics and how to express your purpose. And then we have a group, a Facebook group. And so the intention is to check in with the Facebook group at least twice a week and engage and co-create with online and social media. Engaging is so important, and working together, it's social. Social media is social. So co-creating is a big thing. We want to listen and communicate with stories. We're going to talk about that today. Be positive and edify. Embrace your competition. We are co-creative here. We're not competitive. And so part of what we covered in the past playbook chapters was what embracing your competition means. Build your presence, be confident in your magnificence. I am in awe, literally in awe of all of the people who have been participating in Posting with Purpose and the Boomer Zoomer meetups. I mean, you guys are incredible. You are doing incredible things. You have been doing incredible things for a lot of years. And so you, of course, should be confident in your magnificence, because you are magnificent. Always show up and walk your talk. And showing up means, of course, coming to Boomer Zoomer meetups as often as possible, connecting on the Facebook group and engaging, and of course, showing up in your own life and your own values. If you walk your talk, you are expressing those core values with everything you do. And that is what will attract people to you. And that's it. Connect often and build relationships. Of course, that's part of what social media is all about, but it's also what community is all about. And it's what makes life rich. It's connecting, taking a contact to a connection, and then building a relationship. And the bottom line in life is that everything is about relationships. I don't care if it's a business or if it's a personal relationship or if it's whatever. It's everything is about positive, strong, honest, wonderful relationships. Invite new Play Shop members. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. If we can co-create, if we can have a community that co-creates, that's when we really can all together experience transformational success. Okay, so here we went through the goals. That was the G of the GACTS. We did the A, which was the audience alignment and action focused. We did channels, which are the social media channels and other ways to communicate and co-create. So I'll just briefly run through those, because these are some things that I would very much like to go deeper into and get people to present to us, as well as my own knowledge base about these areas. So the channels for communication online and in the world are our own websites, blogs, social media, speaking, articles, participating in groups, and that would be online as well as off. Workshops and courses, and that is you creating workshops and courses. as well as participating. But you know, to communicate your messages through a workshop or a course is a really great way, because you will absolutely build connections that way. Email and newsletters. Email is a social media. It really is. It's an important one. Having a list is important. Sue mentioned she's got a ginormous list. That's awesome. If you are an author, you need a list. If you are an artist, you need a list. If you are a coach, you need a list. So a list is having an email for somebody, having connections on LinkedIn, or having connections on Facebook, Instagram, all of the platforms is great, but having somebody's email is golden. So email is an important thing to put into your toolbox when you're broadening your reach and developing presence. Videos, doing video is, it's remains, it's been one of the most important ways of communicating for a long time, and it's not going away. It's getting even more important to do things on video. Books, writing books. A book is a wonderful way to communicate your message, or if you're doing speaking engagements and you, well, even acquiring speaking engagements, getting booked. If you have a book, it's easier to get booked. And then if you have your book with you, you know, your book gives you credibility. And you can, if it's a nonfiction book and you're speaking about the topic, you can sell your books, and you can have your book there. It gives you incredible credibility, and it also helps get your book out into the world. If you are a fiction writer, there are many venues where you can broaden your reach and get your messages out and market your books. So I know a lot of you are authors. Brochures and business cards. It goes back and forth whether paper media is important or not. Now, of course, this past year, paper media hasn't been that important, but I believe that letters, postcards, and gifts are today's paper media. And it's, I mean, how many of us get fun stuff in the mail? Not many. Most of your stuff in the mail is bills. But if you get something special in the mail, you take notice. And so handwriting letters, having a fun postcard, or even with an offer, is a good thing. And then the whole idea of gift boxes and gifts has exploded in the last year. And that is an incredible way to build a business. And there are businesses that are strictly built on boxes of gifts. So that's a really cool one that kind of goes along with the paper media. And then networking, of course, you know, getting out there and being able to connect with people and develop those relationships. So we had a little worksheet for how to how to plan for your communication within the various channels. And then today we're going to get into the part 3 of the GACTS of Life, which is time, team, transformation, for the T's. I hear, and I say it myself, I have so much to do. I just don't have room for one more thing. We're all busy, busy, busy people. And it's really, really easy to get overwhelmed. And when you are overwhelmed, you don't get anything done. And procrastination kind of comes along with that. When we're overwhelmed and we're not getting things done, we're also procrastinating and putting things off that maybe we shouldn't put off. So how do we fix that? And people have always told me, how do you do so much? You do so many things. How do you do all this? And the way that I do it is I manage my time. I very rarely feel overwhelmed. I do a lot, but I implement time management strategies into my life so that I can manage it without going nuts. Because it's no fun to be going nuts. It's no fun to feel overwhelmed. And it's no fun to feel like you're not getting anything done. And that's what happens when you feel like I just don't have enough time to do anything else. I don't have enough time to do what I need to do. And it's been very interesting this past year because we've had a lot more time to do things. And yet some people that I've spoken to still feel overwhelmed, or some people have maybe not managed this wonderful gift of time that we've been given, and they come out the other end, which I'm hoping we're at the other end now, saying, well, what did I do? What did I accomplish? And I think that with some of these time management tools, we can come out the other end feeling and looking at, okay, I accomplished this, this, and this. So here are some tools, tricks, toys that I use, and I'm sure there are more, but these are things that have worked for me. And so these are some of the things that if you want to go into any of these deeper, write those down in your notes, because at the end I'm going to ask what things you'd like us to focus on going forward. So schedule and calendar in 90-day blocks. I learned this back in 2000 when my husband and I had a design build business, and we decided in 2000 to really focus on growing our business. And it was coming at a really weird time because there was a recession. It was called the dot-com bomb. And in Silicon Valley, there were companies going out of business right and left. Our clientele, we worked for high-end clients who were building and remodeling their homes. And a lot of them were losing their jobs. And, it was a scary time. And in fact, the architect who was part of our business decided that he wanted to go back home and work out of his home because he was very nervous about paying rent for the office. And he was very nervous about having enough clients to keep going. And so he did. And Bob and I decided, well, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to grow our business. And what that meant was getting some professional help. And our business, Design Build, it was fairly small at the time. I think we had a couple employees, and our revenue was about $500,000 a year, pretty low. And so we decided, okay, we're gonna get our act together. We'd been in business for 10 years, and it was just like flying by the seat of our pants. And so we joined a mastermind, and we learned how to run a business. We learned how to be owners. We learned a lot of stuff. And we were with this mastermind for 8 years, and it was incredibly valuable. One of the first things that I learned was thinking about things in terms of quarters, which are 90 days, and scheduling things for 90 days makes sense. That's why when we did our goals setting, and you can see down here, set smarter goals. I said, let's set them, only set them for 90 days. And then you have to check back. So this is a really good way to manage your time. Schedule it out on a calendar. And I recommend using both printed calendars and digital calendars. I've got my printed one right here that I don't know if you can see that. It's a whiteboard. And so I schedule out everything on that monthly. So it's right in my face, hanging up there. And I schedule out on my Google Calendar, which is on my phone as well as on my computer. And then I also bought one of those big wall calendars that's a whiteboard. And I can actually do a year at a glance if I want to. But I find that blocking out stuff in 90-day blocks makes a ton of sense. Set smarter goals. Now, we talked about SMART goals. And we talked about smarter goals. Smarter goals incorporate everything that a SMART goal has, except it is aligned with your values, your vision, your mission, and your mantra. And so, or your message. So smarter goals are the way to go, and you set them. And I would say, don't set a ton of them. Set 3. 3 is all you need to set for 90 days, because if you set too many goals, you're going to get bamboozled, you're going to get overwhelmed. And you might say, okay, I'm going to set 3 goals for my business, and I'm going to set 3 goals for my creative work, and I'm going to set 3 goals for my personal life. That would be doable, and plot it out so that you can see, okay, I'm going to spend this much time. I'm going to spend Mondays doing my artwork or writing. I'm going to spend Wednesdays with my social media. I'm going to spend Fridays having fun and going out to dinner or whatever. So plot it out so that you know ahead of time what's coming and you don't get overwhelmed. Which also comes down to, let's see, did I put it in here? Well, yeah, it's sort of, yes, here, set boundaries. Say yes to saying no. You do not have to do everything all the time. You can feel fine about saying no. And I've sure had to learn this because I am a yes person. I want to do everything. Anything that sounds like it's fun, I'm in. Well, there's a point where I have to say, gosh, if I'm in on that, then how am I going to do my goals? Because that, whatever that fun thing is, I just don't have a block of time for it right now. So I can say no, thank you, or no, not right now, or whatever, and set the boundaries. I have set a boundary that I don't work on my, the last year, I worked way too much. I was working 40 to 60 hours a week, and I'm 70 years old. I don't want to work 40, 60 hours a week like I did when I was 40 and 50. And no. So I said, stop. I need to take weekends for me. I am not going to work on weekends. And I set that boundary and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to have me time on my weekends and take me breaks often. If you can build me breaks in, I know Dee takes walks, goes hiking with friends. Now that's a great me break because it is forming relationships when she's with her friends. It's getting exercise, which is good for her health. It is a way to, perhaps even if you're by yourself or even with a person, a friend, you can brainstorm about ideas. And so you're not like your nose to the grindstone working and at your computer or at your easel or whatever you're doing, but you're thinking and you're brainstorming ideas and asking your own self or maybe your partner questions that help you move forward. So me breaks are really important. Create good habits. Habits are really interesting. We can have bad habits and we can have good habits, but it takes time. And guess what? They've done studies on this, which is really wacky, but it takes 90 days to develop a habit. And so if you can do something consistently for 90 days, it will become a habit. And there are some really good, there's a book out called Atomic, like atoms, atomic, like the atomic bomb, Atomic Habits. And there are techniques of habit building good habits in that book. For instance, one that I've heard a couple different people talk about, and I've tried it myself and it does work, is habit stacking. So let's say you are needing to take a new supplement and you have a routine where you brush your teeth every day. That's a habit that's already in place. If you don't brush your teeth, you feel like you've really done, you haven't gotten dressed yet. So brushing your teeth is the habit. So you stack a new habit on top of that. So maybe you take your new supplement when you brush your teeth, and that way you remember it. And after 90 days, it will be a habit. I heard another person say the other day that she's building habit stacking, drinking water and drinking enough water. So she puts her habit on top of another habit that's already established. And pretty soon after 90 days, she will not be able to not drink water. And it works. So creating good habits is a way to manage your time. Because if you've got a habit of blocking out 90-day calendar, you will manage your time better. And there are many things that you can think of that would help you manage your time. Have systems in place. Oh boy, is this an important one? And we will talk about that later. Systems help you manage time. Have standard operating procedures for everything. And what they taught us in my mastermind that I was in for those 8 years was write down your SOPs. Your SOPs need to be written because because there are down here, if you hire help, if you offload some of the stuff that you can offload, it's a whole lot easier if you've got a written standard operating procedure about how you want it done. And this doesn't take that much time. It's a good exercise to do because it actually helps you plan your own time, for you to write down what you do, how you do it, which is also tracking your time. That was one of the things that they had us do for, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. Everybody in our company had to track their time, not just the hourly workers, but even Bob and me. I had to write down every hour of the day, work day, what I was doing. And it was eye-opening because there was a lot of time that I could have been doing something more productive and I was not. And that also opens up the opportunity down here. What can you offload? What can you get a virtual assistant to help you with? What can you do to get rid of the stuff that takes up all this time? You know, can you hire a housekeeper, you know, to vacuum the floors? Because is you're vacuuming the floor, is that productive use of your time? Automate as much as possible. This is where technology is our true friend, is that we can automate so much when we know how to do it. And when we have guides that can show us how to do it, or we can hire a VA that knows how to automate. We can have a website that has automation features worked right into it, so that we don't have to do all this stuff. It's an interesting thing that came up just recently. I guess a lot of marketing and information, and this is from was from a AY. What does it stand for? American Writers Association, I think it was. And it was a new class to become a chat bot writer. So you would write copy for these new chat bots. And apparently that is a huge upcoming market. And if you're into copywriting and you can write the copy that these bots will follow for companies, because businesses all over the world are automating their chats and their customer service. So I thought that was really fascinating. Check in often. When you have to always be looking at your stuff, and if you've got your goals, you've got to check back. You've got to, at the end of 90 days, what's working, what's not, throw out what is not working, replace it with a new idea, a new goal. If something is really working well, keep it going, but maybe do a little bit of changes to make it even better. It's important to check back often. Know your productivity style. My son, Aaron, my youngest son, who is an incredible tattoo artist, making amazing amounts of money doing something he is so passionate about and so talented with doing. Growing up, he was a night owl. He could not, he was up all night, and he was up all night doing art as a little guy. He worked better. His brain was wired to work at night. He is not a morning person. I'm the opposite. My productivity time is from 5 a.m. I get up every morning at 5, and I have my routine, my habits, and I get a lot of stuff done between 5 a.m. and 3 p.m. After 3, I start winding down and I go to bed at 8 o'clock a lot of nights. So my productivity style is to utilize that, the morning hours, but other people aren't like that. There are other things that are productivity styles, and you have to know how you work best. And of course, all of us have been around for a long time, and so we know from looking back what works, what doesn't. And so I say, if you're trying to manage your time, don't even go where it doesn't work. If it doesn't work for you to go to meetings that last until 10 p.m., don't go. Go to morning meetings. set deadlines, be accountable. Deadlines are really good, I think, because they're boundaries. It's like, it's a goal. You have to accomplish this goal by this time. And that's, to me, setting deadlines works. And then be accountable. So there's many ways that you can be accountable to yourself, to others, to have accountability partners, also to forgive yourself if you are not, another story. I'm one of those people that say, if I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there. If I commit to something, I follow through. I am totally internally accountable. Well, I live in a place that I didn't realize until I moved here that we get snowed in the winter. And I was going nuts. I was like feeling really stressed because I had made commitments to be down in town and to do things that were really fun and really important to me. And I could not get out of my driveway safely. And 2 times I slid down the hill sideways. One time I got stuck in the snow. And then it took me 4 years to say, okay, this is stressing me out. What's stressing me out? Is the beautiful snow stressing me out? No. What's stressing me out is that I'm too committed. I'm too accountable. So how do we fix that? We fix that by not making commitments from Thanksgiving to the middle of March. I cannot make a strong commitment to be somewhere at a particular time and do a pretty amazingly fun thing during that time frame, because I just don't know. And I'm not going to put myself through that horrible feeling of being stressed by making making those commitments. So that's how I kind of overcame in that particular situation, being too accountable. It was not servicing me well at all. The me breaks weren't happening right. And so that's part of managing your time. You've got to know what to be accountable for, and then maybe not even block that into your calendar. And then, of course, co-create and hire help. It's so much more fun to do things together. Things are done better when they're done together with more people on a team. And the way you do that is you delegate and you hire to your need. Now, people say, well, I don't have enough money to hire somebody to do that. My answer to that is, well, let's figure out a way to generate more money so that you can pay somebody to do that piece that either is stressing you out or not allowing you the time to do what you love to do and what will actually produce the money to pay for them. So it's, there's ways to figure out, what do I do well? What do I need to have done? How can we find the right people and also the right, the way to pay for them. Okay, moving right along. If there's anybody that's got any questions or anything, I can answer them, or we can just wait to the end. Probably better to wait to the end because I want to get through all this. So everybody okay with that? Just moving along to the team. I think it's very cool that JR has baseball experience, because baseball is such a great metaphor, analogy. Teams are so great. When a highly functioning team is in place, amazing things will happen, and guaranteed. But when a team is not highly functioning, and when a team is not put together correctly or facilitated correctly, it can do the opposite, and it's not fun. And I always use the analogy of the San Francisco Giants baseball team. They had a team member several years ago, Barry Bonds, who was an incredible hitter. He could hit home runs one after the other, score, except he was not a team player. He did not gel with the other team members. And a baseball team is more than a hitter. A baseball team is a co-creative, the perfect model for a co-creative team, a team that has to be co-creative. You can imagine if you only had a bunch of good hitters, or you only had players who were pitchers, you had no catcher, you had no first baseman, you had no fielders. You know, what kind of team would that be? It wouldn't work. A good team is a team that each person gives to the team what their strengths are, their gifts, and they get in return what they are lacking or what they need. And together, the team is wonderful. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So when Barry Bonds, so the Giants did not win any games. They were like at the bottom of the league. They were horrible for a number of years. Barry Bonds leaves, the Giants get new players on. They form a highly functioning team where every player was good at what they did, but they were also connected as team members. They worked in the team structure for each other. And the Giants then went to the World Series twice in a row. It works. It really does. And this, if you look at successful companies, if you look at successful relationships, my situation last night with the fire, I am just thrilled that Darren and Bob and I worked so efficiently as a team, and we came through it, and it was just like, it could have been incredibly horrible, but it was not, and we got through it. And now I think in the rebuilding, we're going to be teaming on that too, and it'll all work out really well. So 503-349. Having a really good team where you can collaborate and co-create is incredibly important. A team has to be aligned in core values, though. And so when we were going through all of the initial stuff, the core values, the vision and the mission are so important. And I saw this with my company. We had 12 employees, and we had we worked very much together to come up with our core values and our vision and our mission. And everybody in the company participated in framing those things. And then we had periodic, probably at least 4 times a year, team building activities to keep us aligned, to keep us together. Often those activities were breaking bread. You know, the whole thing of sharing a meal with a team is something really interesting that happens when you share food, when you break bread with each other. It bonds you as a team. And so that's what success transformation is all about. It really, when we can co-create with a highly functioning team, we go from me to we, that's when the most transformational success happens. So in the playbook, for those of you who can download it, and it was also sent to you in your email, there are some places where you can make a list. What time management tools will I explore in the next 3 months? So, maybe do it as a smarter goal. And then think about the team that you want to create and who might be on that team, and write some names down, because there's a magic that happens when you start writing things down. It's really kind of amazing how you can manifest by writing things down. It's magical. And then think about, okay, who's going to be on your team, and what are they going to give to the whole or give to you? And then what are they going to get for that? Because it's a process of gives and gets. We have to make sure that everybody wins, that there's something in it for everybody. It's sometimes with the get might be a paycheck. I hired a VA to do something that I knew I could do myself. I just didn't have the time for it. And so I said, okay, I can generate enough money to hire this VA to do this task that I didn't want to do. Now, what does she get from it? She gets money, and that helps her business. And, and she may get referrals. There's all kinds of things that she will get from this relationship. She may get a permanent VA job from me. I'm looking for the right person to be like an executive assistant, and maybe she'll be that. We don't know yet. But write this stuff down, because when you start writing it down, you start seeing a bigger picture. And you can also, it's really fun, in 3 months, you can look back at that list and see, okay, what's working, what's not? Did this happen? Didn't it happen? What could have I done to make it happen? The S in GACTS, GACTS of life, is S for story, systems and strategy, and then success, of course. So story is incredibly important, because that's the way people remember things. That's the way you communicate to people's emotions, and that's what shifts people's perceptions, and that's what will attract them to what you are saying and make them want to be part of what you are communicating. So I collected a bunch of quotes that really expresses all of this. And some of them are, I don't know if we want to read through all of them, probably not, but they are in your playbook, so you can refer back to them. I really believe that story is not just written word. It's not just spoken word, but story is expressed through all of the arts and all of creative expression. And so if we can weave story into our creative endeavor, whatever that is how we can most powerfully communicate. And this is actually the mantra, if you will, for my own project that I did with Betty Louise and I, which is now called Voices of Our Story. But we said, this has been the premise of our project for 6 years now. And this is why we have received all the grants that we've received. It is because we believe the story connects us to our humanity. And the humanities and arts communicate those stories. And the result is cultural transformation. I also love this one. Storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world today. This is truth. And there are ways to incorporate story into everything we do. And I would love to have more deep dive into that if that's an area that you guys want to explore. The other thing that is super important is systems and strategy. Having systems in place and utilizing systems thinking will make your life so much easier, and you will accomplish so much more. And what I believe the human body is a system, as a collection of systems. And what I certainly learned in being building homes and designing homes, a building is a system, or it's actually a series of systems that are integrated together, just like the human body. You have to understand one system and how it relates to another system in order to build a high functioning home.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry.
And so creating systems in your own work and in your own life is really important, and identifying that you have a system for this. I know my mother taught me how to wash dishes. And I was taught a system. You always wash the glasses first. Then you wash the plates. Meanwhile, you've got the silverware all laying in the bottom of the sink, so it's getting all soaked while you're doing all of these other things. And so after you do the glasses and the plates, then you do the silverware. And then the last thing you do is the pans. Now, that was a system that she taught me when I was probably 5 years old. It's still there. It's stuck in my brain. I cannot wash dishes any other way. I tend to load a dishwasher almost the same way. So, though that's a system, you can create systems for everything you do. And I think if you look at your life, you already have systems that you have incorporated into your life. And if you have a way of thinking about systems, then systematic thinking, systems thinking, you will be able to be innovative, and you will be able to plan better, and you will be able to push the envelope with your creative endeavor and communicating your creative endeavor. There are definitely systems to posting with purpose. And we will get into some systems that I've developed. You don't have to take my system. You can learn my system and maybe learn Sue's system, and then see where they both work for you, and make your own system. But having a system is really important. Now, there's all kinds of systems. And I wanted to just kind of tell you about some of these that some of you have been participating in this. And so this is what has to do with systems thinking resources. I'm doing it like every other month. So next, we already did the first Mastermind in the Brilliant Zone workshop, Think on Purpose. we're doing another one. The date has not been decided exactly. I think it will be either the first or the second Thursday in June, but the actual date's not decided yet. And that's where we explore how to use the weather system. The weather system is a wonderful mind mapping process to get clarity, focus, and motivation, take action on anything, any idea that you might have, or resolve any question that you might have. And so Celia Gates is the originator of this weather system. It's really fun. It's very creative. It appeals to people who are outside the box thinkers and who are creatives, right brainers. So I think you might really enjoy that, learning the weather system. You can also go online. These are all hyperlinked, hot links in your download in the playbook, so you can just click through, but their websites. So this is how you register for Think on Purpose, and there's information about the workshop. And then the Energizing Fresh Thinking is Celia's website, where she talks about the book, and you get a better idea of what the weather system is all about. And then a follow-up to that, which Dee and Stephanie both joined, was Up Spiral, where we take it even a step further. And it's really learning how to innovatively think and structure strategy, take accountability. The mentorship in it is provided by Celia, mostly, me a little bit. And it's also about mindset conditioning, which is really important to accomplishing your goals and having transformational success. And so that is, if, you know, I really would love it if those of you who haven't experienced this, we're going to do it by invitation only this time. And Celia is going to be inviting some women entrepreneurs who are Christy's age, more than our age, which I think is really exciting. These are women entrepreneurs in Bhutan and Nepal.
Wow.
And so they will be invited to come to the Think on Purpose and hopefully Up Spiral afterward. And the idea of doing the cross-cultural thing is really exciting to me, as well as the cross-generational. So I think that this is going to be a really, really fun group, the Up Spiral. The Mastermind in the Brilliant Zone, we really kind of, well, we did breakouts. So you get to interact with each other a little bit, but it's a lot of it is your own thinking process and learning the system, where you develop a mind map. And then in Up Spiral, we get more into kind of exchanging. And I don't know, what do you think, Dee? Was that, I really think the last two Up Spiral meetings we've had on Zoom were really valuable for.
Well, yeah, I want to say something about that, because I was really in a not the greatest place when we did the one 2 weeks ago, and I was the only one that turned one in. So, she chose mine to demonstrate, and it was so valuable to me. It was so affirming. And then the one that we did yesterday, Stephanie was the only one to turn one in. I'm sorry, Gunhild. Gunhild was the only one to turn one in. And so I was first of all, I was like relieved because I didn't have the pressure on me, but I learned from the work was being done on Gunhild how to, oh my gosh, it was very inspiring just to hear how Celia, let's see, she draws out of those mind maps and then feeds back kind of like what you can't see for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have this other creativity that you didn't even know you had, or you have insight that you weren't tapping into. Well, it was brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to stick with this, and I
Yeah.
encourage everybody to check it out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, well, number one, I have known Celia for 10 years now, and I thought she was brilliant from the get-go. And it's like
Oh yeah.
every year I know her, I think more of she's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
And her system is an amazing system and fun. And then the interaction of the group, I think that was so good yesterday. Getting Celia's input is golden, but then getting everyone else's input and seeing how other people added things, and there was interchange. It was really a great session.
It
Yeah.
was. I thought so. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope the rest of you will check it out because it's different, it's fun, and I think that it's a really good way to overlap onto what we're doing with Posting with Purpose to, to help you move forward, because that's the whole intention, is that we grow and that we learn and that we are having fun and getting results. I mean, we want to get results. And so do that. What I'll do is I'll make sure, for those of you who don't have the download for this, I will send you an email with all the links so that you can, or an invite. I'll put you on the invitation list for the Mastermind in the Brilliant Zone, if you'd like. If you don't want me to do that, then put it in the chat. Don't bother me. I got too much on my plate.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Are you sending, I didn't see an email about the class yesterday. I don't know why. I mean, I know my plate's been spilling
Right.
over.
You did, but I think
Because
your plate is overflowing at the moment, and your time management, your focus at the moment is
my
is on
sister-
family
well-
stuff, and that takes priority. So don't worry about it.
Well, I check your emails every day. I have a, what do you call it, a folder for you, and I don't remember seeing it, so.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'll double check. I'll double check.
double
and let
check,
you know.
but also know, Stephanie, that the
that-
recordings are on the Up Spiral
Okay.
Facebook page.
Yeah. I have
And
to-
so you can watch there and catch up.
okay.
And it's not, of course, the same as being there because you didn't get to interact, but you can at least see what we're talking about. And
Okay.
and then we also post, last Thursday was a 21 mind meeting guidance that is
Mhm.
videoed, and you can always go back to those because they're on video and they're on the Facebook group, Up Spiral's Facebook group, so that you can watch those at any time, and you can do those 21-minute mind mapping sessions anytime. I've done them now, odd times. It's like, okay, I've got a break here. I need to take a break from this. Before I move into that, I'm going to do a 21-minute mind map session, and I just watch the video and have her guide me through it. It's great. Okay, so in the book, there's also the place for you to write down some of your story ideas. What are some stories from your life that could support your purpose statement and your mantra. We might, Betty Louise and I do this really wonderful thing with A Place to Call Home, Voices of Our Story project called Story Circles. And I might just see if we can do a story circle session among ourselves on Zoom. And that could really be good to stimulate some stories that will be your stories that you can use for your communications, but also listening to each other's stories that will stimulate ideas of your own, but they will also let you get to know each other better, because it's through listening to stories that we can really connect with people. Not so much doing the blah, blah, blah ourselves, but listening to others' stories. What systems do you need to implement? And again, I would, write them down. And, maybe there's more than 3, but when we finally start to work on implementing them or structuring the systems, you don't want to do too many at once. Strategies to get results. So systems plus systems plus systems equals a strategy to get from here to there. And you want to ask yourself, what do I want to communicate? Who can help me? What is my budget, both time and money? What are the results I want to see? What is the return on investment? So those are all questions that you will ask yourself, and you have this little worksheet in your playbook. Okay, so where do we go from here? We are out of time. So I had hoped to have time to ask you to write down or say verbally the things that you would like to go deeper into moving forward with Posting with Purpose and the Boomer Zoomer meetups. So rather than taking your time, because we're already 5 minutes over, I will email everybody that's here. I have your emails. I will email you this list. And if you wrote down other things, you can email back to me.
Great.
Which would be easier, if I just email this as a attachment, or if I made a form that you could use? And
For me, it would be
I
a
love
form.
email. I just love getting things in email because I know how to do that. I sometimes forget where to look and how to go to links, and I get confused. So for me, I always know how to read an email.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. And then
me
you can
too.
just shoot the email back to me.
Yep.
Just return it. That would be
Yeah.
awesome. And that would really help me a lot in my planning for knowing not just what to talk about, but also who to invite to talk and to present. I really am looking forward to having Sue, who looks like she had to go, present, and other people. So it looks here, I'm reading the chat real quick. Okay, if you guys want to save the chat to read it, the only one that really is, okay, so you talked a little bit about the thing that, I can't even say it. What is it?
Synesthesia.
Synesthesia and the chromesthesia that Christy has. And then Christy said that she doesn't want to interrupt, but she loves it and wouldn't want to be without it. Cool. And she writes children's books. So she's joining another, I mean, gosh, everybody's authors. That's awesome. And doing another book, and yes, you can post your website. That would be fine. Probably better than posting it in this chat would be send it to me and I'll give it to everybody. That would be
You,
cool.
you want everybody to put their website in now? Even if
Well,
we've already-
One of the things to know for those of you, I mean, you, Dee and Stephanie, all of your contact information, websites, all that stuff is on in the membership site for other members. That's part of what we have on the membership site, is a way to connect with each other. But I would be happy to do it via email, to everybody.
Okay. The new people, I would like to meet the new people by looking at their
Yeah.
website. That
Yeah.
helps me a lot.
Websites are great. Everybody should have a website. I agree.
Carolyn just put hers in the chat. She's probably gotta go. Thank you,
Okay.
Carolyn.
I do.
Great. Well, thank you for
Okay.
joining us. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you all.
Thank you,
coming,
everybody.
And I'm sorry we ran 10 minutes over.
Oh, no.
Considering what you've been through, Susan, it's okay, darling.
That's right.
I told her
This
when
is
she gets off the
fantastic.
call, it's a bottle of wine and bed for her.
You bet.
She's got to go calm down. Okay.
And
thank
Chef
you,
Darren
sweetie.
cooked a great meal for
Oh.
last night that none of us were around to eat.
Oh.
So tonight, Chef Darren's got dinner covered.
As long as it isn't barbecue, no barbecue.
No barbecue. I don't want to. I smell like, I already smell like a campfire.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay,
Thank you
bye-bye.
very much. Nice to
Bye.
meet you, new people. Take care.